in Kalekana with the Director of Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission, Mr. Ashwin Raj. Mr. Raj, you've come here today, well, first of all, because you're saying because of what you've gone through personally while growing up. After you watched the video, you have decided to come forward and help Janifa and her two daughters. And secondly, in your role as the Director of the Commission. Your comments, please.
This reminds me of my childhood. I grew up in poverty, so I know what the struggles are all about. And from the perspective of the Human Rights Commission, you know, the right to housing and sanitation is a fundamental constitutional right. Of course, the state, can be limited in terms of its ability to progressively realize this right, given limited resources and all of that. But that's where people come in, communities come in, individuals come in. Compassion, kindness is very, very important. And when you hear about the plight and predicament of, people like our sister Janifa, I think it's very, very important that we put aside whatever agendas we might have and just come forward and help people, because it is about stepping into someone else's shoes, trying to understand what the struggle is, and just looking at how best we can, with our limited capacity, help people. These kids are our future. And if we don't give them a chance now, we're basically destroying what could potentially be a very bright future for them. So I'd like to appeal to everybody to please come forward, show kindness, in case show kind, do whatever little we can to help Janifa. But I'm sure there are many other people like this in the country who don't have access to social mobility. Even at the Human Rights Council, the issue around poverty and structural inequality was raised as a fundamental human rights issue. So obviously we need to look at this thing. And, the state has its role to play, but so do people. I saw some comments on Twitter about, this is the job of the government. But, beyond that, I think having that conscience and that good sense and kindness and compassion means just stepping out and not waiting for institutions and authorities to do. I'm obviously moved by the fact that the Fiji military forces has come forward and spared their expertise, and the people are out here building the institution, and that's what's needed. Taking small steps to put a smile on someone's faces, but also about trying to think through long-term solutions to these problems. Housing is a huge issue for so many people, and we need to think about the ways in which all of us can enjoy the right to housing, because the right to housing is not just about shelter. It's essentially about human dignity. I grew up in a house like this, where the toilet was, a distant away, and it's undignifying. When you don't have access to water, when you don't have access to electricity, when you have a house that has holes everywhere, it's an assault on your sense of dignity, it's an assault on your sense of self-esteem and all of that. So we need to rise, to the occasion and help people out. And if you've gone through something like that, you totally understand what it is. It takes a very, very courageous woman to be able to sort of say to everybody, look, I'm at a state now where I need your help. And she's obviously, called out to the people of Fiji. It's up to us to rise to the occasion and give the little we can, so that all of us can live a life of dignity, enjoy the right to housing, and, just realize the fact that they're our children too. They're our future as well. They are Fijians. So it's about doing the right thing.
You've come forward as one of those with immediate assistance to bring some smiles on the faces of Janifa and the two daughters. I know you wanted to do things privately, but because of your role as Director of the Commission, of course, also you have a greater responsibility in that regard. So, as the Army Commander said, calling on public to come forward and give. From your point of view as Director of Commission, your message to the public?
I know that Fijians are kind, I know that Fijians are generous. I know that once Fijians know that somebody is going through something, they'll stand up for them. So I'm very, very confident that goodwill will prevail. Many more Fijians like us will come forward and help Janifa and the family. Of course, this doesn't mean that we've come here today and will disappear tomorrow, that this is an act that we're doing around Christmas. This means that we are going to be in a relationship. And so we've got the contact details and all of that. We'll regularly visit the family. They've got our details now. But I firmly believe that, institutions need to reach out to people. We shouldn't wait for people to come and knock on the door of these institutions. So we need to do things differently. It's important that we reach out when we hear about some of these issues and try and understand, what are the difficulties that people are facing. And only then will we be able to address these issues. No man is an island. I don't think institutions alone can resolve this problem. We need to have a collective position on it, and all of this can be done if you have a nation that has a conscience, if you have people who have enormous repository of goodwill, kindness and compassion.